folks, James here once again, and a very warm welcome to you all. And this time I'm going to bring you a review and my impressions of Gawith and Hoggarth's Grasmere Flake. And this is one of the lovely Lakeland blends, and one which I was very keen to try. I was fortunate enough to have my in-laws offered to get me some for Christmas, in fact, so they I ended up getting an ounce and 3/4 to try. And as you normally find with Gawith and Hoggarth flake, a very good quality flake, fairly moist, but nonetheless you can see a very nice quality flake. So yes, a Virginia burley with rose and geranium sort of floral essence toppings, I was very keen to try this as a comparison with the Kendal flake, which I reviewed some time back, and it seems a fairly obvious comparison to make. And so my first impressions were of quite an unusual sort of floral flavouring right from the beginning, and not quite the same as Kendal flake, and I found that the flavouring, although the scent sort of like the tin note, as it were, it is about the same strength as Kendal flake, I thought. The actual initial flavouring off the bat was actually not as strong, and it took a while for the sort of the hints of the flavours to come through, and they did, but I would say that not in comparison with the Kendal flake, not as much. And I found this throughout the smoke actually, that the flavourings were far more subtle, and so for this reason I was almost a little bit disappointed. Not entirely, because still a lovely smoke, but I enjoy the way that the Kendal flake seems to be fairly consistent all the way through, and kind of really does deliver more or less what it portrays before you smoke it. Whereas I think the Grasmere flake for me just didn't quite have the strength of flavour that I was after, and I think in some respects this, not necessarily a terrible thing, but I found I had to concentrate a little bit more on the Grasmere flake to get the hints of the rose and the geranium, and actually the rose comes through a lot more, I found, than the geranium. And indeed, really geranium, as a gardener, I'm aware that geranium hasn't really got a particularly strong scent, and I'm guessing that is what they're aiming to try and portray, and I couldn't really put my finger on that. I was mainly getting the sort of the rose essence, I think, and you do get that hint of Turkish delight, as you do with Kendal flake, but as I say, a lot more subtle. So yes, not quite. As I say, being a gardener, I was rather hoping this would be the sort of the my go-to blend if I wanted something along these lines, and something I would like to smoke a lot more of. But I have to say, at this stage, having almost got to the end of my first sort of stock of this stuff, yeah, I think the Untitled Flake just pips it to the post, and it's by no means unpleasant or completely disappointing, but I was hoping that the flavourings would be a bit more forthright, and it is a pleasant smoke still. I would say the strength, i.e. the nicotine, for me is sort of low to medium. I generally find with these Gawith and Hoggarth flakes, especially the sort of Kendal series, it's sort of middle of the road. They're quite pleasant to smoke, you know, as an all-day smoke, and they're not too heavy. So for my personal taste, now strength of flavour, I think I would put at sort of not quite medium. I'd say sort of low to medium. And I kind of would have liked the flavours to be a little bit more forthright, and luckily obviously they always use good quality Virginias and Burleys, and these do help to give you the backup to the toppings by way of their sort of pleasant flavours, and the sweetness is good. I enjoy the sweetness. So there is that side to it. The rum note, I don't really get much opportunity for others to experience the rum note because I don't smoke indoors that often. But I did smoke it in the vicinity of other people outside, and they told me that it was very pleasant, and so that can only be a good thing. And you do get a hint of it. I do tend to smoke, as you know, in my trusty shed, and I could pick up a nice sort of sweet aroma, which is pleasing. So that's good. So yes, generally a very pleasant smoke, but just a little bit underwhelming, I would say, and not quite as I expected and hoped. So I think I would like to try some more. As I say, I've gone through pretty much all of my 1 3/4 ounces, and I would probably look to get a bit more to continue smoking this, and I think it's one of those ones you have to concentrate on a little bit to get the best out of it, whereas I find that the Untitled Flake, it's far more bold in its flavourings, and it's right there, right from when you light up, and really whatever you're doing you can get that flavour from it consistently. And I think the Grasmere Flake seems to be a little bit more subtle and laid back. Yeah, so one that I would try again, and I think it's one of those ones that I think you need to have quite a bit of it to get a good impression of it. I would definitely recommend you try it, especially if you like I'm sure a lot of people have probably tried this already, but if you like the Lakeland series, the Kendal series from Gawith and Hoggarth, I've yet to try the Kendal Flake, and there's various other ones in that series that I would like to try, and there's sort of other ones that are comparable, but I really do enjoy my Gawith Hoggarth flakes, and as you know, I am very keen on the Bob's Chocolate Flake, and for one anyway. So yes, there we are. That's my review and impressions of Grasmere Flake, and it's yeah, it's a nice blend. As I say, for me, just in comparison with the Kendal Flake, just perhaps just a little bit you know, more laid back and set back from the flavours of the Kendal. And I have to say, I really do like Turkish Delight and sort of Parma Violet essences that you get with the Kendal Flake, and they, although they're a little bit in the Grasmere, not quite as forward, and so therefore a little bit underwhelmed, and but I think some further investigation might be worthwhile, so we'll see how that goes. So there we are. I shall leave it at that, and I shall wish you all very well. Thanks very much for subscribing and for watching, and we'll see you again soon on the next one. Cheerio.
We will sing it if you'd like to know. Cheerio, everyone, cheerio. Seems as though it is time we must go. Looking back, you'll find that we've left behind lots of happy hours together, so never mind. We'll be back in a while, cheerio. In the meantime, just smile, cheerio.